This video is sponsored by Surfshark. Assassin's Creed Unity was the last game in the series that felt like a true Assassin's Creed game. Nowadays, there are a lot more Watch Dogs and Far Cry than classical Assassin's Creed. You used to explore cities and ancient ruins, but now you fish and talk to Smurfs. Don't get me wrong, there's definitely an audience for these types of games, but they're totally different from the Assassin's Creed games we used to know. And that departure started after Unity. But the question is why? Well, it's time for a quick... No, it's time for a time reverse. The year is 2014. March. The PS4 and Xbox One are fresh off those Chinese conveyor belts fashioned with their bizarre buttons and Kinects ready for action. One of the most exciting announcements related to these new devices came on March 21st of 2014 when Ubisoft dropped the announcement trailer for Assassin's Creed Unity. This was to be the first Assassin's Creed game developed purely for next generation consoles, and boy did it look like it. This game looked phenomenal, and hell, even today could hold its own. It really is an incredible looking game graphically. The lighting engine, cloth dynamics, hell, even the parkour animations were fantastically enhanced over the previous generation. It looks so freaking good, it made some people ask if it was all too good to be true, a question that would age like a fine wine.
You bitch. You did it. Stupid bitch doesn't even know. She is gonna get the best bottle of wine of her stupid bitch life.
But we're not there yet. We all got hyped up with these trailers, hearing that there was co-op, allowing you to play with your friends, taking on assassinations together. We reveled in Lord's cover of Everybody Wants to Rule the World because this was 2014 and she was relevant. And we waited patiently until November when the game launched. And yeah, remember that bit about the game looking too good to be true? Well, here's where that comes in. In the spirit of the game's setting, I feel it only fair to describe the game's launch in its native tongue. C'est cassé como de la merde. Nailed it on my first try. In English, it was broken as shit. To this day, I still actually get joy from looking up some of the glitches that people came across. Hell, if you just Google video game glitches, Assassin's Creed Unity is still at the top of the list with screenshots of some of these bugs. Melting faces, black holes, British accents from French characters.
So young, yet so serious.
All came together to create one of the least polished AAA releases anyone had ever seen. And it begs the question, how did this happen? Well, by all accounts, the game was rushed to meet the deadline of release within 2014. This was all because Ubisoft needed to have some title launch within its major IP that year that could take advantage of the new consoles. You see, whenever a new console generation launches, it's common that there aren't a ton of devices out there, especially compared to the previous generation, which is already established. Think of the number of PS5s out there versus PS4s right now. However, the benefit of launching on next generation consoles early on in the generation is that there aren't many games out there for these platforms. If you release a big budget production during the first year or so, you can expect almost every single owner of the new generation to buy that game because they're so desperate to use the damn thing. I'll admit it, I wasn't gonna buy Returnal. It's not my kind of game. I'm bad at it and it makes me feel sad. But I bought it because I wanted some excuse to use my PS5 that had been sitting on my desk staring at me for months. And this was the case with Unity. If Ubisoft could get the game out in 2014, they could ride this wave of next generation excitement all the way to the bank. But the problem is that you need a game to release, not a digital anathema. But notice what we haven't been discussing through this entire video. The game itself. It's become a footnote in its own story. Very few people actually discuss Assassin's Creed Unity, the game, when it's brought up. Its disastrous launch, on the other hand, is usually the topic of conversation. However, not on this channel. I'm a big fan of this game. Granted, I played it post-launch, but I've long proclaimed this game's worth. Back on March 24th of 2017, I published a 45-minute video breaking down the game's successes and shortcomings, and I've been recommending it to people ever since. However, since then one thing's become very clear, and that is that Ubisoft threw the baby out with the bathwater. You see, Unity was the last true Assassin's Creed game. It was the last game that truly focused on stealth and being, well, an assassin. But when Assassin's Creed Unity failed so catastrophically, upper management looked at the terrible reviews and sales numbers and attributed that failure to not just the rushed release, but to the game's design and the structure itself. You see, they failed to understand that players would have loved Unity were it complete when delivered to them. But instead, they thought the players hated the game's design, and the glitches made it all the worse. And this led them to committing to a total reworking of the series. Syndicate was already in the works at the time of Unity's launch, but the next game that launched in the shadow of Unity was Assassin's Creed Origins. The Origins team, which just so happened to be the same team that made Black Flag, had been mostly working on engine upgrades leading into late 2014. This was all before hitting full production in 2015, with Unity's failure looming large within the minds of Ubisoft's management. And the product of that team's efforts was Assassin's Creed Origins, a game which reworks the entire Assassin's Creed established formula, spitting on everything that Unity tried to do. Now, before I go farther, I should stress that I like AC Origins, but it's markedly different from Unity, and from all of the other games that came before. Without a doubt, Unity failed. But the true tragedy at the heart of this whole tale is that Ubisoft's reaction to the poor launch led to the destruction and abandonment of Assassin's Creed as we know it. Unity was and still is a good game. I recommend it, especially at the crazy discounts you can get it at. But we never got to experience the game in its intended state, and we never got to see where the franchise could have gone with the co-op play and the incredible graphics and lighting engine. Instead, we're stuck wondering what could have been, playing games that bear about as much resemblance to Assassin's Creed as Elise resembles a human. But regardless of whether you're human or not, you need to protect yourself online. And the best way to do that is with a VPN like Surfshark. Surfshark is the industry-leading VPN service that protects you from hacking, malware and phishing, identity theft, ISP tracking, ad manipulation, price discrimination, and so much more. Surfshark works on all of your devices, is low impact, incredibly easy to use, and right now they have a special deal for viewers of this channel, making it more affordable than ever. Simply follow the link in the description box below or in the pinned comment below to check out the crazy deals they're offering. Right now, if you sign up for a 24-month plan, you're going to save 83%, and they're throwing in an extra 3 months for free. That ends up being just over a couple bucks a month in order to fully protect yourself online. Again, check them out today by following the link in the description box below. But that's all from me. Thank you so much for watching, honestly and truly. If you have a video topic you'd like me to cover, make sure to leave it in a comment below or tweet it at LukeStevensTV. Also, make sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified of the next video, and like this video if you enjoyed it. That engagement really does help. But again, thank you for watching. I love you all more than you could possibly know, and I'll see you in the next video.